Hello, CS112. Today we'll be going over a quick solution to Lab 10, which has to do with recursion. Gist of this assignment is that Dennis the Menace likes going over to Mr. Wilson's house, but Mr. Wilson says that he would need to pay off all the property damage he has caused if he wants to continue coming over, and he can do so in installments. So he had some examples here is that he is $20 in debt and he'd like $10 installments every time. So you want to print out sort of the path that he has with his that Dennis the Menace has with his debt. So obviously he starts out at $20, then he does a $10 installment. So he's at 10, then he does another $10 installment, and is at 0. Likewise with 11 and 2, he starts at 11 and is decremented by 2 every single time. So what we want to do here is actually implement this recursively, and that's kind of the main thing here. That this might have been quite easy to understand, but not as easy to implement with recursion. What is recursion? Well, you want to call def update det within def update det. It's just a function being called within a function. And the general structure for a recursive function is having your base case first, followed by your recursive case. Now, what is a base case? Well, a base case is when you want to stop recursion. So, stop recursion. And now in this case, when do we want to stop? Well, we want to stop once Dennis the Menace's debt has equaled 0. And in some cases, less than or equal to 0, because if we recursively subtract 2 from 11, we'll eventually get to -1. So we want to make sure it's less than or equal to 0. So we can directly put our base case up here first. So if debt is less than or equal to 0, we're just going to print 0, since this is about displaying the path of his debts. And we're just going to have an empty return statement here. This will kill the function and just sort of unravel the stack, if you will. Moving on to the recursive case. What is the recursive case? Well, this might be the trickier part for a recursive function, but it's essentially the smaller steps. So as you're kind of looping through your own function, what are you trying to solve here, given the parameters? Well, we want to be subtracting the debt by the fee, and while calling update det again. So I'm going to put this in an else block because that's just good programming practice. And then I'm going to obviously display the debt. So I'm going to print the debt, and I want it to be on the same line as it shows on the assignment PDF. So I'm going to change the ends from a new line to just a space. And then I'm going to call update det with changed parameters, where det will be equal to det minus fee, and then just have the regular fee being called here. Now this is the solution here. This was a fairly simple one in my opinion. It has to do a lot with just print statements versus actual return values. Keep in mind though that there will very rarely be only one base case and one recursive case. It's usually multiple of each, but it's important that when you're looking at a recursive problem, you're able to define when you are finished and when you like what the smaller steps are in your problems. You want to be able to break up your recursive case to understand what each step between the two print statements here is taking, and that is just subtracting the debt here by the fee. So the debt here by the fee is the small step that's happening every iteration, if you want to look at it that way, through your own function. So that's what our recursive case is. There might be multiple recursive cases based on a condition. There could be multiple base cases based on the condition, but it's all depending on the problem. So let's just run this real quick. I'm going to do python cat.py. I am not where I need to be. Give me 1 second. I think I have to go on my what? Yeah. There we go. Now I need to go python cat.py. As you can see, I get the matching outputs here. If you do have any questions, do let me know. It's very important that you try getting down recursion as soon as possible, because this will be used in this class.